The Arizona Rural Development Council is a nonprofit organization that's trying to improve the quality of life in the state's rural communities. Here to tell us more is the council's executive director, Eddie Browning. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us more. What is the group's focus, plans, objectives, goals? What are you all about?
Well, we are a federally recognized nonprofit, and our goal is to link rural communities to resources to improve their quality of life and improve their economic climate. You know, we've kind of settled on a few programs that we try to do that with. One of them is our forum that we have coming up in August, and what's interesting about that is that rural communities need resources, aka money. And so we've set up an event to where we bring in grant makers that have the desire to fund in rural communities and bring them to an event, set them up in a round table speed dating operation, and then we invite nonprofit organizations from around the state to come. And it's a 2-day event. First day we work on capacity building and teaching them better ways to be a more successful nonprofit. But the real highlight is this grant maker roundtables, and a grant maker will they host a single individual table.
And that could be government, corporations, the whole 9 yards.
The whole 9 yards. This year it looks like we have about 14 grant makers, going to have 20 tables, and you know, APS is going to be there, the Arizona Commerce Authority is going to be there, Arizona Community Foundation, Tucson Electric Power, USDA Rural Development, Delta Dental are just some of those that are going to be there. And the nonprofit gets to come in, and where the 2-minute part comes in is that they have 2 minutes to make a presentation to that grant maker. And we're not asking the grant maker to make a decision at that moment, but we're basically saying, this meets our priorities, this meets our needs. When our grant cycle comes around, make sure that you get in an application. The whole idea is that a lot of grant-making organizations, most of them are located in Phoenix, Tucson area. They would like a bigger rural presence, but it's difficult to get out and travel. You know how it is. You're going to travel. You put in 7 hours on the road for a 2-hour meeting. This way, I'm expecting somewhere between 150 and 175 nonprofits to come to this event and have one-on-one, face-to-face meetings with a potential grant maker.
What are the biggest needs as far as services for rural Arizona? What are nonprofits looking for help for? I mean, give us a scope of the landscape.
Well, I would say it's money, resources, and manpower. What usually happens in rural is that your economies of scale kick in. There's not as many people. There's not as many people with dollars that are given to these nonprofits. So they're always chasing dollars, especially if you look at the municipalities. They're smaller. And when I say manpower, usually it's the city manager, that he could be the city manager, the economic development person, and the airport authority all at the same time. Yeah. So that's one of the huge challenges that they have.
And as far as grant-making ability and just granting services and money and whatever you need to these rural communities, is it affected these foundations, these government entities, these corporations look above, just don't see what's down there? I mean, what's going on there?
Well, I think you get into what I call your circle, your cubicle, and there's so much need in so many different areas, and I'm not blaming them, but it's just easier. They have easier contacts with the nonprofits, say in a closer vicinity here, and it's just harder to get out and to find out what the needs are. The needs here are exactly the same as the needs in rural. It's just some different percentages.
I know one of the needs in rural Arizona is for doctors, is for people in the healthcare industry, and you had an event called the AZ Project. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the MASH project, it's multiple avenues for successful healthcare. This is a project, I'm in the second year of my pilot project with this, and we're trying to find high school students, link them up with a local hospital, and give them a 2-week session of behind the scenes, what's going on in a hospital, and that there's more to the rural healthcare field than just doctors and nurses. The theory behind it is that if you find somebody that grew up in rural, they want to go off and get their education, this is an opportunity to invite them home and that there's a job for you when you come back home, rather than trying to find somebody that maybe grew up in Scottsdale and went to school here and then convince them that they should go to a small rural community where the shopping is a little bit different. So it's really a grassroots workforce development project.
And I noticed these kids visited dentist offices, rehab facilities, hospices, pharmacists, nursing homes. They did CPR. They performed EKGs. They watched, I guess, animal surgery, veterinary medicine as well. You really say, listen, kid, this is out there for you. Just don't forget about home once you decide to go down that trail.
You know how it is. When you grow up in a rural community, every high school senior probably, when they graduate, what's the first thing they say they want to do is, I want to get out of Dodge. I'm ready to go anywhere except here. But then as you get a little bit older and you're looking for a job, and then you get married, and then you decide to have kids, these rural communities are a great place to raise families. And so it's not uncommon for them to begin to come back home. What we're trying to do is spark that interest at an earlier age so that they can go out. I'm going to say, go, get your education, sow your wild oats, but know that you're always welcome to come back home.
The Rural Policy Forum, the roundtable and the grant-making kind of collaboration and meet and greet sort of thing, when is it? Where is it?
It's August 9 and 10, and it's going to be here in Phoenix at the Black Canyon Conference Center.
All right. Very good. Eddie, great work. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tuesday on Arizona Horizon, Glendale City Attorney explains why the city rejected petitions seeking to overturn an arena lease deal with a potential buyer of the Phoenix Coyotes. Plus, the future of community colleges in Arizona as the Maricopa Community College District turns 50 years old. That's Tuesday, 5:30 and 10, right here on Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.